Shem Angel 64, MEHIEL. Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. This is Taliesin McKnight, and today we've reached Shem Angel 64, MEHIEL. This angel is associated with authors, booksellers, scholars, teachers, knowledge. Also, it's said to protect against rabies and ferocious beasts. So we're getting into this angel today. It governs 15 to 20 degrees of Aquarius. And this is the last of the Shem angels that is from the choir of archangels. And this is actually a discrepancy. So I'm glad that I make these videos. This is something that's inaccurate that's told in the science of the Kabbalah. So the 72 Shem angels, or angels of the Shem Ha-Mepharesh, in Athanasius Kircher's Oedipus Egyptiacus, published in 1652 or 1654, divides the 72 Shem angels according to the 9 choirs of angels. So the first 8 Shem angels are of the seraphim. The next 8 are cherubim. Then you have thrones, you have principalities, virtues, so dominations. You have all these different choirs of angels with different offices. This, according to the, the Shem angels are divided evenly. The first 8 Shem angels are of the seraphim. The next 8 Shem angels are of the cherubim, etc. So there are 8 to each office. And if you look in this earliest source, MEHIEL is the last of the archangels. Beginning at Shem Angel 65, it'll be from the choir of angels. But here, if we turn to, in this book, page 92 of the Science of the Kabbalah, it says on page 92, under 64th MEHIEL, it says here, this genius and those who follow up to the 72nd, belong to the 9th order, which the Orthodox call the choir of angels. That's just objectively wrong. That's just not correct information. This book is good for many things. It's good for the offices and stuff. But there's a lot of stuff in here that's just not quite right. So I think it's good in these videos to point this out. If MEHIEL was of the choir of angels, then there would be 9 in that choir, and there would be 7 of the last choir. So it would throw everything off, and it does not match the earlier text. So MEHIEL is not from the choir of angels, it's from the choir of archangels. It's the last of those. So MEHIEL, the divine attribute embodied in this angel, which appears in Oedipus Egyptiacus in the 17th century, the divine attribute shows what aspect of the divine shines through the angel. So the divine attributes associated with the 72 Shem angels are very important because they kind of go into the angel's essence. And the divine attribute embodied in this angel is God, the life giver. Athanasius Kircher's Oedipus Egyptiacus, the Latin, says Deus vivificans, God who gives life, God the life giver. So if we want to understand the nature of this angel, the attribute, office, psalm verse, all of these things, as I say in these videos, are like signposts. They lead us to the mystery embodied in the angel. So by contemplating the psalm verse and divine attribute, all of these things are there for a reason. They're not things to just be skimmed over. So it's important to really meditate on, what does this mean? God, the life giver. What does it mean to give life? Something that was dead is given life. Something without movement has movement. It has flow. Something that when you're not inspired, it feels like a deadness. It's given life. You have inspiration. You have energy. So there's lots of things that we can think about with God, the life giver, giving of life, giving life to all things. What is the life? It's the breath. So there's a lot of things. I really encourage people while they work with this angel to really think about, what does this mean? And this is the difference between just talking at the angel, telling it what we want, and actually building a closeness, a deepening of a relationship, a deepening of the mystery of each angel, and aligning with its energies. You know, it's like someone just asking you something and actually having a deep connection with that person. So working with the 72 angels of the Shem HaMephoresh does two things. It grants us material boons and benefits, and also it helps to elevate us spiritually. So God, the life giver. So it's good for us to think of, what does this mean? MEHIEL. Also, it needs to be noted that I've gone through and I've compared the different spellings of the name in Latin. Throughout the literature in Latin or English letters, it's MEHIEL, MEHIEL. And yet Dr. Rudd has it as MECHIEL. Why is this? Because the second letter in Hebrew is not the letter He, it's the letter Chet. So the second letter is not like a regular English H, it's a Ch. So the eighth letter of the Hebrew alphabet is Chet, sometimes shown as a CH, which throws a lot of people off, more than it helps probably. MEHIEL. If you're not able to pronounce the Ch sound, then MEHIEL is fine. But just know that the Shem angel name of 64, it's not just MEHIEL, it's MEHIEL. The divine attribute is God, the life giver. The psalm verse associated with this angel is, the eye of the Lord is upon all those who hope in his loving kindness. The eye of the divine is upon all those that hope in him. So if we're hoping in the divine presence, whatever that means to you, these videos are not about being dogmatic. You know, it may surprise a lot of people, but I myself am a pagan. And yet I work with the Shem angels. I found no problems. So some people that work with the Shem angels are Christian or Jewish. I've known a few people that are Jewish that work with these angels. And many pagans, people from many different backgrounds, work with the 72 Shem angels. So whatever that means for you, the divine presence, the great I am, the giver of life, and that the divine presence is watching over those that hope in that divine presence. So what does this mean? Again, nothing that I have to say is dogma. It's just one take, but maybe it can help some people. This idea of the divine presence, or watching those that hope in the divine presence. So to have that watchful eye of the divine care, we need to hope in the divine. We can't lose faith. We can't be dead to the divine presence. That awareness of the divine presence brings us to that watchful eye of the divine. So, Welcome manuscript 3203 has the psalm verse, as I just said. Behold, the eye of the Lord is upon those who hope for his loving kindness. And yet, if we look at, for example, the Masoretic text, we look at the King James, for example, it says, behold, the eye of the Lord is upon them that fear him, upon them that hope in his mercy. Now, this idea of fear is an issue for many people. Now, on the one hand, we should not reinterpret things to make them more palatable. We need to avoid reading things in a way that sounds nicer to our ears. So we need to not gloss over things, and yet we also need to be careful not to misunderstand or misconstrue. This idea of fear in Hebrew also means awe, a realization of the vastness of the divine. You know, it's funny, many people that are like, it's not that vast, you know, not that awe-inspiring. Many of these same people, if they saw a tornado, or if they saw a volcano erupting before their eyes, or if they witness a great, powerful, like grand mountain, they're going to be like, whoa, look at this giant mountain. It's amazing. That awe. Think of the power that's behind the whole universe running. Think of, can our minds even begin to fathom? So it's that understanding of the wellspring of being, the ground of being, out of which all things come. It's beyond anything that we could grasp. So this idea of awe, and for some people that is a form of terror, that realization of our smallness. So, you know, like I said, on the one hand, we don't want to reinterpret to make things more palatable, but we also want to understand what could be lost in translation in the King James. For example, a lot of times things were interpreted into English in a very specific way. So the psalm verse in the King James, behold, the eye of the Lord is upon them that fear him, upon those that hope in his mercy. Gematria, which is the adding up of Hebrew letters to come up with a number. The idea is that other words with a similar number, if we add them up, has some type of value that's significant, but a connection between the words. We have to be careful. Again, this is balancing every idea with its opposite. Their union is the destruction of illusion. Balance every idea with its opposite. Balance every idea with its opposite. Their union is the destruction of illusion. So we need to, it's good to look at gematria, but not to get lost in gematria. You can manipulate words in so many ways that anything can add up to just about anything. So I think we should take gematria with a grain of salt while also looking at it. It's a powerful tool in the Kabbalah, nonetheless. So if we look at MEHIEL, if we take off the L and we just have Mehi, which is the divine name, Mem, Chet, Yud, the gematria value is 58. And that's also the gematria of Chen, Chet, Nun, Chen, which means grace or love and kindness, or kindness or grace or mercy or lovingness. Chen is grace. Okay? And yet 58 is also, it's the value of Chen, which means grace, and it's also the value of Chili. That's Chet Yud Lamed Yud, which means power, might, strength. So the gematria of the root name of the angel equals 58. And 58 is both the value of Chen, which means mercy, loving kindness, grace, and strength and might, which kind of seems like it connects with the psalm verse. This idea of fear and mercy. You have both sides. So that's interesting that 58 is both the gematria of chen, or grace, and chili, chet yud lamed yud, strength, might, or power. So, it's pretty interesting. Now, what does this angel govern? A lot of times we're like, okay, now we should not gloss over these things, but what is the office? What could we call upon this angel for? The office, it says, and this is from Lazare Lenain, Science of the Kabbalah. Many people use the office. This is very late. It comes from the 1800s, and there are some inaccuracies, but many people still use the office nonetheless, myself included. What does Lazare Lenain say? He says this genius protects against rabies and ferocious beasts. So that's interesting. How is that useful? Maybe someone works in a zoo, or they're a vet, or there's a rabid dog in the neighborhood, or maybe someone's a hunter and they don't want to get gored by a wild boar, for instance. This genius protects against rabies and ferocious animals. It also rules scholars, teachers, orators, so public speakers, scholars, teachers, orators, and authors. So these are people of knowledge. This angel governs scholars, teachers, orators, and authors. It influences printing, bookshops, and all who trade in them. So anyone that is a teacher, anyone that tries to give people knowledge, anyone that's trying to sell a book, okay, authors, booksellers. The person born under this influence there, he's talking about the birth angel, will be distinguished in literature. This, once again, gives us pause. So we have that this angel governs scholars, teachers, orators, and authors, printing, bookshops, and literature. So if you are a teacher, or you're giving a class, or you have to do some type of public speaking, or you're writing a book, or if you're selling books, the flip side of that, my interpretation, is also if you're seeking knowledge, if you're seeking a teacher, or if you're seeking a certain book. So maybe it's not that you're selling a book. Maybe it's that you're looking for a particular book. Maybe you're seeking some type of knowledge, or you're seeking some type of a teacher. So I would go either way, whether you're teaching or whether you're seeking knowledge. Maybe you're a seeker after knowledge. I want guidance. Where do I begin? What book can I find? What teacher can I find to guide me in this? So that's pretty interesting. So that is Shem Angel 64 MEHIEL. So once again, let me just go through these correspondences very, very quickly. This is Shem Angel 64, MEHIEL. The second letter is not he, it's chet, so it's MEHIEL, the pronunciation. The divine attribute is God who gives life. The Psalm verse is Psalm 33, verse 18 in the Masoretic text. Behold, the eye of the Lord is upon them that fear him, upon them that hope in his mercy. The Science of the Kabbalah says, this genius. By the way, I create these. These posts, I gathered all the material through the centuries and I put it in one place for these posts. So I put a lot of work into here. I compared the Psalm verse discrepancies. I looked into the spelling of the name and the different texts. I gathered material from the different sources. And I also provide links to free PDFs of these sources so that people can look for themselves. Because instead of just teaching people or giving them knowledge, showing them where to look, okay, is very important. Teaching someone to, giving someone a fish versus showing them how to fish for themselves, giving the sources. This genius protects against rabies and ferocious animals. It rules scholars, teachers, orators, and authors. It influences printing, bookshops, and all who trade in them. The person born under this influence will be distinguished in literature. The Divine Cabal, Welcome Manuscript 3203. MEHIEL governs from the 4th of February to the 8th inclusively. The verse from whence is derived his name is the 18th verse of the 32nd Psalm. That's the Septuagint or Vulgate numbering, which is different. Behold, the eye of the Lord is on those who hope for his loving kindness. Once again, I've provided the if you go to the community section on YouTube, I have the posts. I have them on my Facebook. If you're on my Facebook, you can hit a little search button on there, and you could type in any angel name on my Facebook, and it'll pull up this information. Also, pinned to the top of my Facebook are my Shem Angel playlists. I have my YouTube channel playlist for the Shem Angels. We've reached Shem Angel 64. There's a video on each and every angel up to 64. The Agrippa playlist. All of this is pinned to the top of my Facebook page. These different playlists. So anyways, that is Shem Angel 64, MEHIEL. We've hit each and every one of these angels and tried to examine each one individually, and I hope that people are working with these wonderful and powerful beings or spirits, however you conceive of that. And once again, I encourage people to do the recitation 72 times. That angel name, attribute, psalm verse. Angel name, attribute, psalm verse. Angel name, attribute, psalm verse. So that is a contemplative approach to working with the Shem angels, as I've talked about throughout these videos since the beginning, since I started making these a while back. And then also to watch your dreams and to listen for the subtle signs. The voice of the angel may not be found directly in the way that you're expecting. It may come in another way. You're dealing with disembodied entities. So anyways, that's Shem Angel 64, MEHIEL. All right, and thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate all of y'all that are on the Shem Angel journey with me in these videos. It's been a wonderful journey, and one that I plan to keep delving deeper into throughout the years. This isn't something I'm going to do and then hang up my hat. I'm going to keep going deeper into these mysteries, these powerful beings. So anyways, thank you so much, everyone, for walking this journey with me. We are sharing in this together, and we are plugged into this together, and we're in this together, and it's great. So anyways, thank you for joining me and for taking the time to watch my video today. And I will see y'all in the next video. All right. Have a great day, y'all. Thank you so much. And of course, as I say that, it does the thing. All right. All right, there it is. Thank you so much, y'all. See y'all in the next video. Have a great day, everyone.